Good morning, Britain. America once again in mourning as a gunman tears through a primary school in Texas, killing 19 children and 2 teachers. The students were aged between 7 and 10. The 18-year-old suspect was shot dead by police. US President Joe Biden says it's time to turn pain into action.
We have to make it clear to every elected official in this country, it's time to act. Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Why do we keep letting this happen?
Now, this is the second deadliest school shooting in this country's history. Inside Congress, there has been widespread condemnation from both Republicans and Democrats. Here outside, the president has ordered the American flag to fly at half-mast to remember the victims of this unspeakable tragedy.
Also on the programme, help on the horizon. The Chancellor is expected to announce a £10 billion package to help combat the cost of living crisis. That's just a day after the release of Sue Gray's Partygate report, which is due in the next few hours.
Yes, we've seen the photos. We've heard about wine time Fridays and suitcases of booze today. We see it in black and white and we hear what the Prime Minister has to say in response.
It could be the biggest walkout in decades as railway workers vote to strike over pay and conditions. But is it wrong to do so amid an unprecedented squeeze on household budgets? We'll debate that after 7.
And here it comes. This is the terrifying moment that an 18-month-old toddler fell 5 feet down a sewage drain when the cover collapsed. We'll be talking to Theo's mum, Amy, about their extraordinarily lucky escape a bit later in the show.
Meghan Markle's dad, Thomas, is hospitalised after suffering a stroke just days before he was due to fly to the UK for the Queen's Jubilee celebrations. We'll bring you the latest.
And that was a song, obviously, that made her famous. But now pop legend Anastasia is all smiles as she prepares to hit the stage once again for a 22-year anniversary tour. 22 years.
A dry start this morning, turning wet from the west, but the outlook is drier as we head into the weekend. I'll have all the details of that and more coming up on Good Morning Britain.
Wednesday, 25th of May, 2022. Live from Television Centre in London. This is Good Morning Britain with Susanna, Reid and Richard Madeley.
Morning, it's 3 minutes past 6. Welcome to the programme. Well, you know, as the French say, plus ça change, the more it changes, the more it stays the same. I mean, how many morning shows have you seen open in the last 30 years with a story like this? And I guess, you know, long after we've retired and are doing whatever we do in our retirement, there'll be other presenters telling you the same news from America, another mass shooting. They just don't seem able to even begin to get on top of it, do they?
I mean, I honestly am at a loss this morning. This is 10 years after what happened at Sandy Hook.
At Sandy Hook, yeah.
When 26 little children between the ages of 6 and 7 and teachers were murdered 10 years ago. And 10 years on, we have a president who was vice president at the time of Sandy Hook.
Yep.
We have a president who tells his country. What struck me on the 17-hour flight back from Asia, where he'd been on a tour, what struck me was these kinds of mass shootings rarely happen anywhere else in the world. Why? They have mental health problems. They have domestic disputes in other countries. They have people who are lost. But these kinds of mass shootings never happen.
Well, they do,
with
actually.
the kind of frequency they happen in... Hang on a moment.
Sorry.
With the kind of frequency they happen in America. Why? Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Well, President Biden, it's because gun ownership is rooted in your constitution and your culture. Less than 5% of the world's population in the United States, but 46% of the world's civilian-owned guns. It ranks number 1 in firearms per capita. What's pathetic? The answer is there, isn't it?
Well, it's there, except it is so endemic now, gun ownership in America, that even if you were to pass a law very similar to the laws that we have, say, in this country after Dunblane, for example, you would still have multi-millions of guns out there because people wouldn't surrender them. They'd still have them. So even if you were to outlaw gun sales in the way that we have in this country and in most of Europe, you would still have mass gun ownership. And you'd still have this kind of frustration because this is what we see every time after an event like this. You see this kind of desperate frustration. This is a basketball coach, a guy called Steve Carr, who was meant to be giving a press conference yesterday about his team. And this is what he actually said.
When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm sorry. I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough.
And even in the states where they have better gun control than, say, in Texas, you still have these gun fairs, these gun shows, where you can pop along at a weekend. You could go as a tourist, and nobody would ask for your ID.
No.
You could go and you could buy an assault rifle out the back of somebody's trunk, legally, and pay cash dollars, and that would be
With
that.
no background checks.
With no background checks at all.
It's unbelievable. Chris Murphy is the Democratic senator for Connecticut, and he represents the community of Sandy Hook. That, as I say, is the primary school where 10 years ago children and teachers were killed. He said he was on the floor to beg, literally get down on hands and knees and beg for change.
We have another Sandy Hook on our hands. What are we doing? There have been more mass shootings than days in the year. Our kids are living in fear every single time they set foot in a classroom because they think they're going to be next. What are we doing? Why are you here? If not to solve a problem as existential as this.
The thing is, in America, the gun lobby goes very, very quiet after an event like this. Tactically, basically. They keep their counsel and then they regroup and they come forward. You look at, I mean, this is a footnote in broadcasting history, but you look at your colleague Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan lost his job in America. He'd taken over the Larry King show because he made it his mission to basically tell America they had to do something about gun control at a time when there hadn't been a mass shooting. And basically he was fired. He was fired because he was taking on the gun lobby and they were protesting to his broadcasting bosses. And he lost his job for telling America the truth about what kind of a problem they had. I mean, God knows what we're going to hear through the show today, but all I can say is you've heard it before and you'll hear it all again. You'll hear it again and again.
Our main news this morning is the tragedy from Texas. 19 young children, 2 teachers, shot dead at a primary school in another horrific day for gun violence in the United States. An 18-year-old man opened fire at Robb Elementary School in the rural city of Uvalde, which is 85 miles west of San Antonio. He had a handgun and a rifle, and he was killed by police officers.
He actually started the spree by shooting his grandmother, and then he got in his car and went to the school and moved from classroom to classroom to classroom before he was finally stopped, but obviously far too late. In an extremely emotional speech in the last few hours, President Biden has urged his country to stand up to the gun lobby, stand up to the NRA, and change the law to end the carnage. Our North American correspondent Noel Phillips is in Washington. Noel, I would say it's an unbelievable tragedy, but it's not. It's totally believable. It's de rigueur in the USA now, and yet there isn't actually any real prospect, even now, of tighter gun laws, is there?
Well, good morning to you both. The lawmakers who sit inside that building have the power to introduce tougher gun control measures. We wait now to see if this incident will prompt them to do so. But just to put into context the heartbreak of this tragedy, those children who died in that classroom were just days away from starting their school holidays. This is every parent's worst nightmare. Just imagine dropping your child to the school gate, hoping to see them again, only for a seemingly deranged gunman to walk into their classroom and shoot them dead. The local police department are working with the FBI to try and piece together the motive and what could have perhaps prompted him to do what many are describing as one of the worst mass shootings in this country's history. They're also trying to understand, if he may have acted alone, but we know so far he did act alone. And they're also trying to piece together when and where he got his firearms from. As you guys have said, he had 2 dead